Hello. Good day, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Break. This is Dr. Michele. I am coming to you live this beautiful afternoon, and I hope that everyone is doing well. I know that my topic, I'm pretty excited about my topic. I know that my topic says mom rage and other emotions, but I'm sure that many of us can relate with it. Because lahat naman tayo may emosyon. Lahat naman tayo, meron tayong mga pagkakataon sa buhay na parang sobra na yung pinagdadaanan natin. And that's what I would like us to explore today. You just might have heard this topic, mom rage. Ano ba talaga nangyayari pag merong mom rage? Pero lahat naman tayo, posibleng pinagdaanan natin to at one point or another. So let's try to understand what is emotional rage or bakit ba tinawag ng mom rage yan. And then that's what I'm going to explain to you. So, bring in your friends. I'm going live here at my Facebook page, in my YouTube account, and also in the live via Facebook. So, hello to all our friends who are watching. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. So, I would like to ask you. Let's start the ball rolling, no? When you hear about mom rage, yung mga nanonood na sa atin, what is it that you think about? What is it that you get in your head? What gets in your head when you hear mom rage? Ano yung ayan, hi Crystal. Crystal all the way from UK. Ayan, eksakto yung topic natin. What is it that you think about when you hear mom rage? Yung ano ba yan? Ayan, Anne, thank you for saying that's monster. What else? 'Di ba? Nagiging monster mom. What else? Ako, ang isa sa tingin ko dito, yung talagang excessive emotion na yung nanay. Wala nang pagsiksikan. And of course, hindi naman lang sa nanay to, no? But many times, I just have to quantify that this often happens among mothers simply because there are just some situations that they have too much. You know what I mean? Yung parang lahat nangyayari sabay-sabay, meron kang umiiyak na anak, kailangan mong magluto, tapos may tatawag sa'yo, and you feel an overwhelming sense of, you feel overwhelmed. You feel that, bakit sabay-sabay yan? Ayan, high blood, emotional anxiety, emotional breakdown, anxiety-filled moment. This was me this morning. Okay, good that you know ako that this was me yesterday afternoon. So, mom rage is often connected to maternal rage and also to a mother's emotion. Literally, ako ang tingin ko dito, pag nasusobrahan, it's just excessive. There's just no way for you to rest, 'di ba? I think naiisip natin 'yan na parang paano ka makaka-break yung anak mo, even your toddler would like to go with you to the bathroom. You cannot even take a break. So paano kung mo maiisip kung ano yung bang emosyon na nararamdaman mo, sabay-sabay yan. Everything is happening all at the same time. So who among you can relate with what I'm saying here? So when we talk about this mom rage, this is actually a coined term. So let's just say that parang na lang siyang naging street, let's just say parang word of mouth, mom rage, mom guilt, ayan. Um, I looked into it. Wala talagang perfect study that quantify that, but it's actually described because a lot of women, especially mothers, undergo the same thing. It's a coin term but not an actual diagnosis. So I'm not saying that this is a clinical disorder. Yes, Crystal, sometimes it's frustration, it's too much going on and you feel like there's no end. That's correct. There's so much going on and I would like to capture that. It's a common feeling of intense anger, and parents, it's a common feeling of intense anger, kasama ng rage, kasama ng frustration, kasama na yung severe irritation. Ako sometimes I think kasama na din yung helplessness, that you cannot do anything without your you cannot do anything about your situation at that present moment. Literally parang gusto mong may gawin pero talagang wala kang magawa. You feel trapped in that emotion. And so all the frustrations, all the anger, even the fears, even the shame, everything just surface and you cannot even sit down and put a label anymore kung ano ba talaga nangyayari. You cannot name anymore the feeling that's happening to you. So that's how we describe it. Carly Blue, she's a psychotherapist who takes care of women's maternal health. She said that it's actually a phenomenon in that moms experience intense anger, unexplained. Diba? Many times when we have this mom rage, nangyayari sa atin yung emosyon pero hindi natin ma-identify. Bakit nga ba nangyayari to sa akin? We're just flooded with excessive unpleasant emotions that bago mo makapture yung isa, may nangyari na. Kumbaga, nagagalit ka dito sa isa, naduktungan nung isa, naduktungan pa ng naduktungan. It's unexplained and it's very intense, and the sad thing is that it disrupts our daily lives. Nakakaapekto sa maraming bagay, nakakaapekto sa relasyon, nakakaapekto sa mga anak natin at saka sa ating asawa. But let me tell you, yesterday I think I'm in one of my bouts, but I know where it's coming from. I understand myself, not all the time, but I understand where it's coming from because of let's just say tiredness. I'm really exhausted. Let me just put a word on it. I'm exhausted. And so it's different for me that I was able to capture it. Alam kong nagsusungit na ako, suplada na ako sa mga anak ko, sa asawa ko. But the thing is, as much as I can, I don't try to blurt it out hindi ko nilalabas. Minsan lumalabas, pero pipilitin natin huwag ilabas. Alam ko naiintindihan niyo sinasabi ko. But it's very different from a woman na ang anak or a person na you have small kids as compared to, for example, my big kids. I'm not making excuses here. Why? Because at the time that if I am in the middle of a mom rage, when my kids are small, they do not have an insight to what's happening to mommy. It can actually cause more harm than good. But here, I have an insight to what's happening to me. My kids know that I'm at my tipping point. My husband knows that also. I'm not making an excuse for my kasungitan or this feelings that I'm having. But they somehow know and are aware. And iba rin yung dating sa kanila kasi kung meron man akong magawa, kaya ko na silang kausapin about it. It means that they can be immediate repair work, there can be immediate processing. Whereas when your kids are small, diba, ayan, as Crystal is saying, one thing is gutom na mga mommy sa sobrang dami ng ginagawa, no time to eat. Yes, which is why I agree with you about self-care. Yes, and that's what we're going to talk about. What it feels like, what this mom rage feels like, what this flooding of emotion feels like. It can differ for everyone. It can actually differ for everyone. But let me just go through with you some areas. It can be very intense. It can be explosive anger. Pwede siyang sumabog, lalo na kung hindi ka sanay mag-express ng nararamdaman mo. And sometimes you just need to learn how to put your emotions appropriately in the proper channel, in the proper context, and to label it properly because it can explode. And it can explode, it can tend to be out of control. So, pwede kang makasakit verbally, physically, pwede mong ihagis yung kaldero, at pwede mo rin ihagis yung mga gamit, diba? So, it can be out of character. Parang, yesterday, I actually told my husband to be vulnerable to you guys. Sabi ko, I don't like that person that I am. When I'm at that bout of emotion, ayoko nang nararamdaman. Ayoko yung ako doon. It's different. Hindi ko siya gusto. And it can be out of character. Alam mong hindi talaga ikaw yon. You are a very loving person. You're very sweet. But all of a sudden, this outburst, parang, whoo! Where did that come from? Out of nowhere, everything is happening. And you're snapping at everyone. Lahat sinusungitan mo. Moms, or if you're not a mom, pero you're experiencing this. What happens to you pag sinungitan mo na lahat ng tao? Parang like there's parting of the Red Sea if you're in one room and nobody would like to talk to you. And you're snapping at everyone, you're snapping at your child, you're snapping at your husband or your partner, everyone in the house. But another thing is that sometimes, like yesterday, I realized I'm not snapping at anyone in particular. It's just that ang sungit-sungit ko, but it's not my time of month. And it can be persistent, or it can be a persistent feeling, madalas siyang mangyari, and it can linger. It can be said that you are on your edge, or you can be at your tipping point and something. So, I would like you to realize that it can be triggered, and it's good if you know your triggers so you know how to manage yourself. But sometimes it's not helpful for you to keep bottling down your emotions, to keep like just making excuses for yourself. Eh, ganito naman talaga ako lagi eh. It's not helpful. And if it's you're becoming an excuse not to love, not to serve the people around you, and to be less of a mom, and then I think hindi siya magiging maganda. So, many of you might ask, what's the root? Anong pinanggagalingan? Bakit nagkakaroon ng mom rage? Well, for me, one of my observations is that some people, they have deeply rooted insecurities. They have deeply rooted insecurity, nati-trigger yung mga insecurity nila, ayaw nilang harapin yung sarili nila, especially for example for mommies. They hate being in that position. They love being a mother, but they hate being in that position because they feel that, ay, naiwan na ako ng mga kasamahan ko sa career, hindi ako na-promote kasi nag-maternity leave ako or nag-extended leave ako, and I often would be absent to take care of my kids. So that can be a source. So your achievement, it's a source of you were not able to achieve the things that you would like to achieve. And so there's such thing as ang lalim pala ng hugot mo kung bakit lagi na lang nagagalit, lagi ka na lang nagagalit sa sitwasyon. Or there are just some things that you feel that ginagawa ko to nung dalaga ko eh. Pero hindi ko na magawa ngayon. So pag inisip mo, it's a lot of insecurity, and it's a lot of maybe lack of acceptance with the current stage that the person is. So you check yourself. Is it coming from a deep wounds? Insecurities ko ba to growing up? Am I always compared? That's why now I'm always comparing myself to other people and my kids to other kids. So, the, kaya hindi mo maamin sa sarili mo all these issues that you have internally, and it becomes actually rage, it becomes anger, it becomes displaced in your system. Another is that guilt and shame. That's why moms tend to shift when this happens, because the root may be guilt and shame. Ayaw nilang, they don't want to feel bad. They don't want na, nagigilty ako kasi ginawa ko to. So parang they try, hindi nila ma-explain ng maayos yung nararamdaman nila. They feel maybe ashamed for, doing less. So, I don't know, but that's why tendency minsan, sasabihin ng husband, hindi ko maintindihan yung asawa ko. Meron ba dito nakaka-relate sa sinasabi ko? Kasi parang you will shift from one, you will have rage on one minute, and then after 5 minutes, you're gonna be sweet and trying to soothe your kids because you're operating. Ang pinanggalingan na nga ng rage mo is your personal guilt and shame. And then because of that guilt and shame, that's where you're operating also to be able to try to addressing it with your children or your partner. You're trying to soothe the person. Okay, am I making sense with what I'm saying? Another thing, another area that where it might be coming from, what's the root? Other emotions. Actually, uh, um, well, that's yeah, you don't see your value anymore. That's it's actually guilt and shame, insecurity and lack of self-esteem. Hindi mo kilala yung sarili mo maybe because you got eaten up by too many things outside you. And let me talk to you about that on another day. So, or if you would like to replay some episodes here at Coffee Break, I have a lot of topics on self-worth. So here, that rage can actually be just the manifestation. Parang yun lang yung nakikita natin. Pero underneath there may be anxiety, there may be overwhelming feelings na, ano ba to? Ang dami kong gagawin. Di ba? I think madalas yan ganyan. Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng rage because of that feeling of anxiety, that sense of being overwhelmed, and even that sense of fear that we cannot do enough, we cannot be enough for our kids or for our families or for what we need to produce, or that overwhelming ng anong uunahin ko, which one should I prioritize. And there are times that in a life of a parent, we know that we should be able to think at our feet. You know what I mean? Na parang kailangan nakatayo tayo at kaya natin magdesisyon immediately. So, if you can relate with what I'm saying, just yes, that anong nararamdaman mo dito? What are the other emotions na pumapasok pa sa'yo? Is it anxiety, the sense of being overwhelmed? Is it fear? And also, there's that feeling of lack of security. Wala naman akong masabihan, wala naman tutulong sa akin. I don't feel that I'm affirmed. I don't feel that I am noted. And then I feel that kahit naman anong gawin ko, um, there there's still a lot of insecurity. So really, that's the lack of security. And I would like you to realize that this is one thing, one chapter of my book. It's the title of that my new book, You Can Care for You. One chapter of my book, it's about sitting with your emotions because we fail to do that. So one of the root of mom rage is actually that overwhelming sense of overwhelming emotions, all the emotions of interplaying. So if you would see, rage can be the outside, but inside there's a lot of things. And you have to realize that emotions, even this rage, emotions like fear, insecurities, like frustration, anger, joy, excitement, even shame, are actually pointing us to a need. I'll repeat that. Our emotions point us to a need. All these emotions, sometimes there is an underlying emotion there. So many times we project the emotions because somebody triggered it, like my toddler triggered it, somebody in the house, kaya ako nagalit because of that person. But try to analyze it. If you try to sit down with your emotions and label it, you would realize that, hey, kaya pala ako galit na galit because no, I cannot seek the help of anyone. Oh, that's why I'm full of this anger. It's because I'm afraid to lose people. Or I'm afraid to be who am I really to them. I'm so ashamed to speak up because I just might be put down by the people I love. I just might be rejected. So in the end, actually mom rage, the bottom of that, it's a lot of other concerns and issues seated in our psyche as a person. So there's even that lack of support, including that. So ano pa yung mga other emotion and what could be triggering it? The lack of support. You don't feel supported by your family. You don't, kahit na family mo sila, sorry ha, we love our family. But there are just some family members, you just cannot turn to them. Kasi nakakahiya, kasi busy sila, kasi it's not their thing. You are blessed, we are blessed if we have a very supportive family. Another is that role inequality. No offense to men, but sometimes women really have too much. Kaya ako, I honestly don't like being called super mom or superwoman because I don't want people to see me as I am. Kasi they thought that I'm always okay, but in all honesty, I'm not. I'm not always okay. I don't want people seeing me na kaya ko lahat. I may. Kaya ko lahat, but to what expense? To the expense of our sanity, to the expense of our well-being, to the expense of our physical and mental health. So, role inequality is that we feel that bakit mas maraming, I don't know, moms, if you are here, do you feel that sometimes? Bakit parang mas maraming load yung babae? Pareho naman kami nagtatrabaho, pero pagdating sa bahay, sorry, tayo yung mag-breastfeed. Ikaw pa yung mag-iisip ng ulam. Ikaw rin yung hahanap kung paano lulutuin yung ulam. Ikaw rin yung gagawa nung naisip mo, di ba? And I don't know, but sometimes I feel that men get away with it, but we cannot. So, you have to check that. Another is grief and loss. Ayan yung mga root ng grief and loss. Yung pala because you lost your work, you lost a loved one, you lost a routine. It can actually be that you are grieving. You're saying, Mitzi, that include the need for control when what you expect to happen or what you want to be done doesn't get followed. Yes, actually, it's mental overload. So kaya nga dapat ideally you become rage because that's a good point because you want to be in control of everything but actually you cannot. You just have to adjust at one point or another. Before I always say I'd rather have happy kids than a lousy me and a clean house. Okay na sa akin na mas masaya yung mga anak ko kesa, at masaya rin ako kesa naman sobrang linis ng bahay namin dahil I have to upkeep with my preschooler and my toddler, moving around. Pero hindi naman ako okay at the end of the day. So, mamili kayo, your sanity or your cleanliness, di ba? So, rule, another is that stress or burnout. That can be the cause kasi you just might be too loaded with work and then there's just too much happening, so it can actually be the effect of that is that hindi mo maamin na you're really stressed, hindi mo maamin na hindi mo kaya. Another is that relationship issues, pero alam mo nyo may mas maganda pa dyan, relationship issues or unmet emotional needs. Alam nyo, mahirap tong pag-usapan kasi kaya tayo minsan, we're full of rage because we feel unrecognized. We feel that, hey, there's just too much load on my plate, but still you're not recognizing the effort that I'm putting in this family. Unmet emotional needs ni, you cannot even affirm me for taking in effort. You cannot even tell me that I'm still cherished and loved, lalo na dun sa mga na I think many wives, this is something that we don't admit, but many of us feel that because we need to express this to our husband. I'm not meeting the emotional needs that I have. Yung bang hindi natin ma-express kasi nakakahiya. But take note, this is one way. We have to act, be intentional in expressing this so that we can do something about our relationship. And then another, of course, hormones. Lalo na kung bagong panganak ka pa lang, so there's hormones and physiological changes happening. And, okay, of course, mental health conditions. Kung may hormones, there's also mental health conditions, especially if you just gave birth, the PPD and the PPA, meaning the postpartum disorder, postpartum depression and the postpartum anxiety. Pero meron akong naisip na isa pa ngayon, midlife. When you're going through the phase of midlife and too many shifts are happening in your life, maybe your kids are not the young ones, but maybe your kids are older, this can wreak havoc in your mental state. So, it can actually affect our kids and it can affect our marriage. So, friends, anong gagawin natin? Ako, ang tanong ko sa inyo, for those of you who are watching here, what do you do? How do you deal with your mom rage? In the middle of this outburst, do you catch yourself? I think that's something that's very mature to do. that in the middle of an emotional outburst, we know how to catch ourselves. Wait, I need to bite my tongue kasi hindi na to okay. Or we can just bravely, oh my God, this is happening. Lalabas lang muna ako sa garahe. Maglalakad lang ako sa kalye. Kahit na hindi matapos yung ginagawa ko, I just need to move. That is actually a very brave and courageous thing to do. Because we're admitting that this is happening to me. I need help. I need to help myself. Can you say that with me? I need to help myself. Either you're a mother, or you're an older mother, or you are a single but just have too many things on your plate. Can you tell that to yourself? I need to take care of myself. Because it can actually ruin a lot of uh, it can cause a lot of distress among our relationships and the people we love. So, how do we deal with mom rage? The first thing that we should do is learn better coping skills. If your way of coping is no longer working, then by all means, hindi puro indulge ka na lang sa shopping or sa favorite drama mo. For all you know, this can actually be also adding up to your stress. You have to find better ways of coping. Baka naman the way that you can cope right now is to just deliver one day at a time. Another way to cope is to your your adjust your ideals. If you cannot adjust the your realities, and then you have to adjust your ideals. If you're saying that hindi ko makuha lahat ng gusto ko, adjust mo yung gusto mo sa realidad mo, attainable ba? Many times kasi yan yung mismatch. So, learn better coping skill. Do you need to learn how to cope one day at a time so you will not feel overwhelmed? Do you need to learn better breathing techniques so that you can actually be grounded at the present moment and be more mindful? Another is that can you adjust your expectations? If you cannot adjust your realities, adjust your expectations and your standards. Those are better coping skill. Kailangan gawin ko to. And another coping skill is that in the middle of this stressful occasion, what can I do? What can I do? Do I take a walk? Do I take a breather? So what can I do? And also, if it's severe, the second thing, so first adjust your coping skills, and then the second, if it's excessive, if it's severe, and if it's out of hand, seek help. Seek help from a psychiatrist or your medical doctor, or you can seek help also from counselors and psychologists, because who knows that that's exactly the kind of help that you need to have better sense and a better grasp of what's happening. And the third, of course, this is what I'm advocating, you have to learn to do a lot of self-care. You might say na, parang hindi naman nag-work. Dati nag-self-care ako pero hindi. You know, self-care is actually the way for us to recharge. I always share this. Mom rage is a sign that you're not getting your needs met. Physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I'll repeat it. Mom rage or other excessive emotions, unpleasant emotions, it's a sign that we're not personally getting our needs met physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And what happens to moms? Kulang ako sa tulog, kulang ako sa kalinga sa sarili ko, kulang ako, I don't know kung kulang kayo sa kinakain, or kulang ako sa emotional connection. So we're not getting our needs met. But friends, I would like to tell you, and I will keep telling you and again, you don't wait for someone, even your husband or your loved ones, to catch you na, oy, magpahinga ka naman kasi pagod ka na. Rather than being swept off by all these duties, rather than you being at that point of rage and becoming less loving, tulungan mo na sarili mo. You have to learn how to recharge even before your duty steps in. Paano naman mangyayari yun? Pag mami ka, ako lang lahat sa bahay, sa mga bata, wala naman akong kasama, wala naman akong katulong. And my husband is working. So I hear that a lot. Yes. You know who's the first person who catch me that I need to that time out for myself? I don't even call it self-care then. When I was a young mom, when I just gave birth to my eldest, it's actually my husband who noted that, like 1 month to 2 months in during my maternity leave, and then being in the house 24/7, breastfeeding, changing diapers, just, everyday routine of being a mother while healing my cesarean wound. My husband catch that, and then one Saturday afternoon when he was home from work, he just said that, let's drive mommy around kasi nakakranky na siya. And then from then on, my husband really told me that get out of the house, maybe just one afternoon, like Friday afternoon, 2 hours a week, 2 hours per week, ilabas mo lang yung sarili mo. You just need to recharge. It does not necessarily have to be structured. Hindi kailangan laging may, anong gagawin ko? It's not that. You just need to step out of the zone so you can look at things clearer. So stepping out of your home, stepping out of your reality is actually stepping in for yourself. It's stepping up. You know what I mean? When you step out of your dailies, it's actually also taking in for yourself, stepping in for yourself. So because your kids need you, your family needs you, the world needs you, the world needs a better you. And hindi mauubos ang trabaho pero tayo mauubos. You have to remember that. Work, life demands will always pile up. Challenges sa bata, challenges sa buhay, sa trabaho, may magme-message sa'yo. Hindi yan mauubos. Tuloy-tuloy yan. And the more that we're supposed to be actively and intentionally try doing self-care, taking care of ourselves, because nobody would do it for us. During my book launch, my friend Didoy Lobaton, we're talking that, di ba, hindi mo naman pwedeng iasa sa ibang tao na matulog para sa'yo, and you cannot even pay anyone to do your exercise for you. So you have to learn that. There's another story that's my big takeaway on self-care. One is when I was a first-time mom to Migo. That was almost 16 years ago. The second time that I'm pushed to do self-care is that when I'm about to give birth to Maia. So Migo was almost 2 years old, in his active toddler stage, and my daughter Maia we're about to give birth to Maia. Diyan ko natutunan mag-makeup. You might say na, ay, hindi safe ang makeup. I used mineral makeup. Bakit ko natutunan mag-makeup? Literally, I have to tell you, ayoko magmukhang losyang. I don't want that. I think I told you that story many times. Ayokong aayusin yung itsura ng mga anak ko na ang cute-cute nilang dalawa. Boy and girl. Laging makamatch yung outfit. Tapos yung nanay nila mukhang hindi nag-ayos ng sarili. That is such an injustice to myself. So because I love myself and I know myself, wait, sinasabi ko sa sarili ko, sa asawa ko, ako muna mag-ayos. Sandali lang. Lalabas tayo, bigyan mo lang ako ng 5 to 10 minutes, ayusin ko lang sarili ko. So really, literally, I put powder, I put kilay, and I put a little blush and lipstick. And until now, I'm doing it. Did that make me less of a mother? No. I think it's life-giving. Kasi kahit na maharas na ako sa mga bata, halimbawa nag-breastfeed yung isa, tapos may hihingin sa yung isa, or kailangan mong mag-bring to the bathroom ng isa, or mag-change diaper ng isa while we're at the mall or we're at the church, I don't feel that they harassed me. I don't feel that they deprived me of something. Why? I did not deprive myself to begin with. And the third point in my motherhood, that I know that I really need to take care of myself further. Take note, further. The first time, it's when Migo was born, so I learned to do time out. And then the second time is that when I become a mom of two, I learned to put makeup. And the third is that when Migo is already preschool and Maia is a toddler, both of them are very active. I'm actually a stay-at-home mom. So I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm taking on writing work for different magazines, and I'm doing, some counseling, private counseling. So I realized at 4 p.m., I'm very tired. Sabi ko, ano ba yan? Pagod na ako. Ano pa ibibigay ko? How will my kids and I play? So that's when I started taking yoga because I would like a movement for my body. Sometimes I would walk around the block with my kids. And that's okay. Pero minsan kulang eh. Kulang yung walk namin sa hapon. That's when I learned that I should be able to take time out and to really exercise. So you have to look for something that will work for you. That's my message always with self-care. Pero alam nyo ba na may mga bagay na hindi mo dapat alisin. And that's good sleep, good nutrition, exercise. Yan ang mga hindi mo dapat alisin. And you might say that, baka naman, I'm a mother wala naman akong magawa dyan. You can. This is actually in your control. Nobody would do it for you, as I said earlier. Take time out if you need to step out. Maybe just for 1 hour. Yung ikaw yung mag-errands to the bank or mag-errands ka, may bibilin ka sa grocery. That's actually a breather. You look at it that way. And what about taking care of your kids? Ibilin nyo with someone. Because I'm sure in less than 2 hours, your kids will be safe and you will be sane. Isn't it? That hour, the 2 hours or less that you step out because I need it. I need it for sanity. It's not going to make you less of a mother or a person. That stepping out for yourself is actually for your sanity and your safety also. Another is that do something you enjoy. So if you have a hobby, maybe if you have kids, introduce your kids to that hobby. Maybe you do coloring book together, sing songs together. Another is that, of course, I said that earlier, sit with your emotion. Umupo ka at kausapin mo yung sarili mo at tingnan mo saan galing yung emosyon, saan galing yung rage, bakit ba ako na-overwhelm? Kung kaya mong isulat, isulat mo. Not really the Dear Diary, pero isulat mo anong nararamdaman ko ngayon. So, if you know how to sit with your emotions and you know how to label it, it's easy for you to tame it. What you can name, you can tame. That's why the power of writing down and identifying your emotion is coming from. And I think you have also to detoxify your thoughts. If your thoughts is always on the negative edge already, if you are having this what we call negative interpretation bias, you have to start detoxifying yourself. Baka naman you're at the time that your kids are sleeping, you're browsing too much social media, and then that is like you see a lot of toxic people or nakikipagchismisan ka sa mga marites na parang friend mo nga sila, pero parang hindi na magiging maganda yung effect nila sa'yo. So, detoxify your thoughts. Baka naman naiinggit ka, baka naman nai-insecure ka lalo in seeing na nagbakasyon sila, bakit kami hindi? Ayan. So, you have to check where could be your point of sanity. Where should you put your mind to things that are uplifting or the things that's actually sucking out the joy and the goodness in you. Another thing that you can do for self-care, set boundaries. Hindi lahat ng nagme-message sa'yo ay life-giving. Yung iba, okay lang na bigyan ng thumbs up, okay lang na i-heart yung message nila. But if you just cannot at that point in your life that you're having so much rage, hindi mo kailangan mag-reply sa lahat ng tao. Hindi mo kailangan i-engage lahat ng tao. You don't even need to be in social media all the time. You're not required. Well, you're required right now because you're watching Coffee Break. But that's setting boundaries. Also, set your boundaries. Choose your battles. Which one is within my boundary that I can do something about? And which one, ay hindi akin yan. Hindi ko saklaw yan. Wala akong magagawa dyan. Ipag-pray na lang natin. Pero ito may magagawa ko. Friends, do you know that your self-care is within your control and within your boundary? Nobody can say that, even if we hear that all the time, na wala naman akong oras, magagawa niya ng oras. Magagawa niya ng paraan. Kung gugustuhin, may paraan. Kung ayaw, may dahilan. And set boundaries. Another is ask help. Ask for help. That's one of the most important thing. Ask for help. Kahit minsan ayaw mo dun sa maybe your in-laws, or maybe your siblings, or maybe some people around you, nahihiya ka to ask for help. But sometimes asking for help is the most crucial thing that you can do. May maririnig pa ako. Minsan, mayaan mo nang may marinig ka if it's going to make you better. You can sleep soundly. Malayo naman sa bituka. Normal lang naman yon na alam mo naman, kung may comment man sila, hindi man lang nila maintindihan, pero inintindi mo yung sarili mo. So, nasan ka dito, friend? Mom rage is an indicator that your needs are not met. So, in the middle of a difficult situation, in the middle of this kind of rage, you have to learn how to do it. Self care has been scientifically proven to actually address emotional outbursts. It has been scientifically proven to manage and to help people get out of depression, get out of excessive stress. So here, you have to choose. You have to choose saan mo ba lalagay yung sarili mo. Yes, I choose to be a mom. Yes, I choose to serve other people. But right now, I choose to love myself so I can love more. I think one of the most important thing that you can do is actually you have to recognize that there are some things that you cannot do something about, but there is the self-care that you can work on for yourself. It may not be like a pill na parang pag masakit ang ulo mo, inumin mo na, okay ka na. It's not automatic. But you know what? It will make you feel that I gave myself important. I gave myself the time, even if it's 15 minutes of just quieting down in the morning, even if it's just 15 minutes of stretching and exercise, hindi mo nilugi yung sarili mo so that you can have more to give to the world and to other people. So in the middle of outbursts, in the middle of difficulties, in the middle of this rage, learn how to get out. Learn how to step aside. Step aside for yourself so you can go back and have more to give the family that you love. I'm sharing you this one is that really because of I'm so passionate about this topic because of my book You Can Care for You. You Can Care for You, the Soul and Science of Self-Care. You can actually start pre-ordering it at Facebook's. It's on discounted price of 399 only for this month. So if you are interested, go to facebooks.ph and pre-order the book so that you know how to take care of yourself. Kaya ako sinabi tong mom rage, kaya ako to kinuwento because my biggest why on why I started my journey to self-care is when I become a mother. That's when I started it. And even though that there's so many things that happen in my life, I learned to deepen my relationship with myself through my self-care. I learned to be more self-compassionate, to be kinder to myself because even if my kids are bigger now, they're almost 15 and almost 16 and almost 13 soon, even if my kids are bigger, I don't want to feel that I gave them my all. No, I don't want to give them. I give them what I can. But I'm not going to give my all to my kids to the point of losing me. Self care helped me establish the me, the real me that the world needs. Maybe my kids, maybe other people. Because our service, our mission, while we have a mission to serve our family, we have a mission also to take care of ourselves and to do more beyond our family. It doesn't end there. So, kung sasabihin natin, parang hindi ko na siya kilala, hindi ko na kilala sarili ko, balikan mo kung sino ka. You can care for you, literally. Diyan yung hugot ng book. You can care for you, meaning you have the power, the responsibility, and the ability, the resources, the inner resources, and the gifts to take care of yourself because you are beloved by the Lord to begin with. So you can take care of your family more, take care of yourself. So you can take care of your work more, take care of yourself. So you can love your husband more, you can love the people around you more, take care of yourself. So you can be a better employee, you can be more productive at work, you can earn better, take care of yourself. That's the main mission of everything. Okay, so that's about my topic. Hello, Mai. Meron ba kayong mga tanong sa ating topic ngayong hapon? Kung wala, ay maghihiwalay na tayo at mag-end of live stream na ako. But friends, tandaan nyo yan. Mom rage and other emotions, it's there. But it is in your power. Is it in your capacity? It's in your capacity to take care of yourself because literally, you can care for you. That's about it. I hope this helps. I hope that this topic is helpful for many. Share this to family and friends. And don't forget, you can pre-order the book You Can Care for You at facebooks.ph. Maraming salamat. This is Dr. Michelle Alignay for Coffee Break with Dr. Michelle.